In this video, we are going to talk about how much money you should save, amount by age group. So before starting this video, please like this video and subscribe to this channel for our future updates. It's clear that Americans feel unprepared for retirement. 1 in 3 have less than $5,000 in retirement savings, and 1 in 5 have no retirement savings at all, according to a Northwestern Mutual study. So what is a healthy amount to have saved? What goals do you need to hit at every stage of your life? There are multiple rules of thumb, depending on which person or company you consult. Fidelity, for example, says that in order to retire by age 67, you'll need to have 10 times your final salary saved by that point. This rule of thumb is applicable for a broad range of people, from those who make $50,000 to those who make $300,000 a year, the company says. T. Rowe Price says generally, most people should save at least 15% of their income each year in order to achieve savings benchmarks at each age. However, a more typical pattern is for people to start saving 6% in their 20s, and then ramp up to 15% in their 30s, and for the rest of their life, says Roger Young, a senior financial planner at T. Rowe Price. We aren't trying to make people feel guilty or beat them over the head, but rules of thumb can be helpful to people to put things in perspective, Young says. Others say these rules are arbitrary. Haleh Madasser, Senior Vice President and Partner at Stearns Financial Group, says it's hard to rely on these benchmarks, since everyone's situation is so different. In this day and age where people are being displaced by technology, the most important thing you can do is invest in yourself, she says. If that means foregoing a contribution to your IRA so you can go to grad school, I'd say absolutely you should do that. It's important to remember these benchmarks may not work for everyone. The most imperative thing is to make sure you are assessing your financial position, planning for the future and making adjustments when needed at each stage of your life. By your 30s. Fidelity says, at this age, you'll want 1 times your current salary. Megan Murphy, a vice president at Fidelity, says that by age 30 and, ideally, in your 20s, you can do this by making sure you are taking advantage of your employer match option in your company's sponsored retirement plan. On average, employers will match about 4.5% of compensation, she says. T. Rowe Price says, at 30, you'll want 1/2 times your current salary, and by 35, you'll want 1 times your salary. These aren't the hard and fast rules, Young says. If you are behind at age 35, you have time to recover. But it's good to have some sense that are you behind and you want to get serious about saving. Others say, Madasser maintains that the benchmark rules discount the fact that there might be better things you could be doing with your time. In your 30s, she says, the number one thing you should be focusing on is paying down your debt. Then, she advises making a 10-year financial plan to figure out how you can do that during this decade while also planning for down payments on a house or investing in your career, such as getting additional certifications or degrees. Wade Pfau, a professor of retirement income at the American College who studied the safe savings rate for retirement, says starting at 35, you should be saving 16% of your income each year in order to retire at age 65. By your 40s. Fidelity says, at this age, you'll want 3 times your current salary in savings. Rowe Price says, at 40, you'll want 2 times your current salary, and by 45, you'll want 3 times your salary. Others say, your 40s should be a time to focus on your earning power and to try to make as much money as you can, Madasser says. If you have kids, this is also the stage where you should be considering contributing to 529 plans to pay for their college education, she adds. Lucian Hinger-Hubiak, a certified financial planner at Mint, says a great rule of thumb is the 70-20-10 spending guideline. Living expenses should be about 70% of your monthly income. Debt payments, if you have any, should be about 20% of your monthly income, and savings, for both long and short-term goals, should take the remaining 10% of your monthly income. By your 50s. Fidelity says, at this age, you'll want 6 times your current salary. T. Rowe Price says, at 50, you'll want 5 times your current salary, and by 55, you'll want 7 times your salary. Others say, according to a 2018 Vanguard study, the average 401k balance for those ages 45 to 54 was $129,051, while those for ages 55 to 64 was $190,505. That's the actual amount, as opposed to the loftier goal. It doesn't include any separate IRA balance workers may have. Ideally, according to Vanguard, you'll want to save 12% to 15%. By age 50, you should be well on your way. According to JP Morgan, these retirement checkpoints depend on your household income. At 50, if your household income is $75,000, you should strive to have 3.9 times your income saved, if you want to retire at 65. However, if you are 50 and your household income is $150,000, you should have saved 5.4 times your income. There's a good reason upper income folks should have more saved. Social Security replaces a lower percentage of their pre-retirement income. By your 60s. Fidelity says, at 60, you'll want 8 times your current salary, so by 67, retirement age, you'll have 10 times your salary saved. T. Rowe Price says, at 60, you'll want 9 times your current salary, and by 65, you'll want 11 times your salary. Others say, this is the point in your life when you should be saving most aggressively in order to maintain your current lifestyle in retirement. This decade, presumably your highest earning years, will define your lifestyle for the rest of your life, Modasser says. Start early, save often. When you are in your 20s and 30s, really the big asset you have is time. The longer your money can be invested in the stock market and compounding for future growth for the future you, that's one of the best gifts you can give yourself financially, says Lowry. That's why even if you have other debt to pay off, you shouldn't wait to start building wealth. One reason it's so important to start early is because of compound interest. This is especially true with a retirement fund or other invested savings. To see how much of a difference starting early can make, play around with this compound interest calculator. Starting early is also about building habits and learning about your finances. Spear remembers an invaluable piece of advice from her first boss: you won't miss what you don't get used to spending. By starting early, you're creating permanent habits. Even if your starting salary isn't enough to save a lot, start with a small amount, even $20. Then, try and increase that amount by 1% every 6 months, advises Lowry. You'll barely feel a difference in your paycheck. Where to keep your money? Emergency fund. You want to keep an emergency fund liquid, meaning it's available to withdraw at any time, so a savings account is a great option. To maximize your savings, you can look into a high-yield savings account, where you'll earn more interest than with a traditional bank. Retirement fund. Luckily, your retirement fund doesn't need to be liquid, so you can invest it. One of the biggest mistakes Keaty sees is people being too safe with their retirement funds, especially when they're just starting out. Instead, he recommends putting your money in a target date fund or working with an advisor to create a personal portfolio. And of course, if your employer offers a 401k match, you should try to max that out as soon as possible. What do you think of our video? Which age group you belong and how much you have saved? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoy this video and want to hear from me again, before leaving make sure that you hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to get the notification of our future videos. Thanks for watching.